What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about what baits go best on a medium to medium heavy spinning rod, because the spinning rod is probably the most widely used rods out there. Whether you're a novice or an expert, whether you're saltwater or freshwater, it doesn't matter. A spinning rod is just the easiest rod to throw, and it has probably the most wide applications out there. And so I'm going to break down some of my favorite baits to throw on this to help you guys get a better understanding of what you should be buying when you first get into this sport, or some of you experts, what other baits might be coming into play. So stay tuned, you're not going to want to miss this one. So let's break down a few different rigs that work really good on a medium heavy spinning rod, and the first of which is going to be a drop shot. A drop shot is probably the most widely used and most versatile tool that a spinning rod fisherman has, because of the way the weight is positioned below the hook. You can put whatever you want on that hook. You can see I have a Z-Man SMH worm on here right now, but what you could also put on here is swim baits. You can put craws, you can shorten this leader up and really use it like a VMC Tokyo rig or anything like that. You can cover so much water with it. You can fish it super deep, you can fish it super shallow, you can punch it, you can do whatever you want just depending on how thick you make this leader. And so it pairs amazing with a spinning rod, especially that medium to a medium heavy, because you can really bomb those casts, you get a lot of extra feel in there, and you can really finesse those fish. The beauty of a spinning reel is that it has a better drag system than bait casters do, and so it's most oftentimes used for situations where you're using light line and finesse line for clear water or finesse fishing, because with that lighter line you have that smooth drag system, and that's what goes great with a drop shot, because you can fish it in 50 feet of water and you can also fish it in 2 feet of water. Whether you're in Florida or Maine, it doesn't matter. So a drop shot is the first one that I'm going to talk about, and that's going to kind of lead me into the worm side of things. Because of how versatile a finesse worm is, you can rig it all kinds of different ways, and they go amazing on spinning rods. Some of the other ways that I like to rig this is going to be with a Shakey head. That is a great option. It catches fish everywhere, whether you're fishing spotted bass, smallmouth, largemouth, it doesn't matter, skipping docks. It's amazing to throw a Shakey head. This is just like a trick worm. This is the Z-Man version of it, just a finesse worm. Another great option is going to be a Senko or a stick bait, whatever you want to call it. You can literally throw this bait anywhere. Again, that's going to be the theme of this, is it is a bait that is versatile, but there's probably been no more fish caught on any other bait than with a stick bait or a Senko. I think this is a Strike King shimmy stick right here, probably one of my absolute favorite Senkos, but I'll have all of that stuff linked down below along with all the other gear that I talk about today. And the beauty of this is you can skip it amazing on a spinning rod. You can skip it way back under docks, you can bomb it out over grass beds, you can even light Texas rig it on a spinning rod and get away with it, because it does such an amazing job at covering water, getting bites, and getting big bites with that. So we talked about finesse worms a little bit. Let's talk about one of the all-time greatest finesse worms ever, and that is going to be a Ned Rig. I know we just talked about the Senko or the stick worm, and that is probably the best, but this has got to be a close second. A Ned Rig, it does an amazing job at catching those fish when they are super finicky, and I love to throw it on a spinning rod. I will probably never in my life throw it on a bait caster, but it does a great job at catching smallmouth and spotted bass and super pressured largemouth, and so that has got to be on top of my list. And again, it's that Z-Man Elaztech, so if you guys are looking for baits to throw, that Z-Man lineup, they do not go bad. And so we've kind of talked about finesse baits. Let's talk about some moving baits that go really well on a spinning rod, and the first of which is going to be a swim bait. A finesse swim bait does an amazing job at getting a ton of bites, and it goes amazing on a spinning rod because of that light jig head on there. You can really bomb it and get a smooth drag system when those fish eat it. The key is going to be when you're reeling that on a spinning rod, when you feel that tick, just keep reeling and lean. That is kind of the hook set that you want to use with all of these baits, but especially with one of these, because what happens is those fish will come up behind it and just nip at it, and as you're reeling it, eventually they'll just get a hold of it a little bit better, and you'll just lean into them. The next one that I want to talk about that goes good with this is a bait that has been super hot lately. That is going to be a Damiki Rig. Yeah, it just has been lighting up the world right now, and if you guys haven't seen my video on the hottest bait right now, I did an entire video on a Damiki rig, so you can feel free to check that out on the channel. But another bait that goes extremely well with that is an Underspin, which is why I was just covering this up a little bit. Same deal, but it does a great job at covering a ton of water, catching those feeding fish and catching those suspended fish. So those of you guys that are looking for more baits to tie on and you're really advanced at throwing a spinning rod, that is going to be one that I'm going to highly recommend, because it does a great job at getting those fish that seemingly nobody can catch and nobody even understood were there. One last bait that I really want to talk about that really gets overlooked as a spinning rod bait is going to be a jerkbait. Here in the States, we throw it on a bait caster most oftentimes, but if you're overseas, if you're in Japan, those guys build their industry on finesse jerkbait fishing, and that's something that I really like for throwing on a spinning rod, because you get that drag system that a lot of times people lose fish when they try to thumb a fish on a jerkbait. You know, as they're hooking it and they're trying to thumb that fish, you just pull the hooks right out of it. So you can get away with throwing smaller jerkbaits or just lighter wire hooks and get a more finesse presentation, get a faster dive depth out of it because you're able to use lighter line. It's just a great option on a spinning rod that most people do not ever talk about. And so the next step up from a medium heavy spinning rod is going to be a medium heavy casting rod, which I'm gonna have that video linked up here. That's one I did a while back that everybody seemed to really like, which is why I did this video. But go ahead and smash that subscribe button. But if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button to follow on with the regular content. But God bless you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.